Spiritual journeys, awakening, transformations, whatever path you're on, we can all agree that it is quite wild. So, and people don't understand how wild it can get. I'm not talking about just like you're just waking up to understanding the world doesn't operate as we were taught or pounded in our head how it should operate since we were babies, coming here. Um, that, and it could be, well, you're awakening to some of your gifts. And we all, that's another thing. But there's also a different part of it, and I hear some people talk about it, but not a lot, and I understand why people don't talk about it, because it is so far-fetched. But I'm being called to share a part of mine. So the keeper, the Akashic records. So when I was on my spiritual awakening, I didn't know it was a spiritual awakening. I thought I was just well, I knew I was waking up, but I didn't know I was waking up. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, things were happening and I just thought it was just new, but I didn't understand like it was a spiritual awakening. Not until much later, like maybe a year later than this incident that I'm going to tell you about. So I had gone to the Akashic records. I had a past life regression. The first past life regression, it was fine. It was eye-opening. It was wonderful. Then it was so transformative to me. I think that was like one of the catalysts that started this awakening. I had many, but it was one of the catalysts that has started this awakening. The second time I had a past life regression, I wasn't even supposed to do it. I had actually hired the past life regressionists that did me to do one for my mom. My mom couldn't go under, so they had tried twice and she couldn't go under. The second time, the past life regressionist said, well, I don't do refunds, so do you want it? And I said, sure. I mean, I've already done it, but we can do it again. So she was like, okay, we'll go to the Akashic records. I had no clue what the Akashic records was. I think I heard a little bit, but I had no clue what it was, and really didn't have a desire to go. But she said we can see like 2 or 3 lives if we go, and the one I had before only saw one. So I'm like, sweet, we'll go to the Akashic records then. I want to see if I'm a mermaid, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the Akashic records. I'm smiling because it's hilarious to me. I get there and I'm in this golden room. Just this golden private room, like a private room that you might find at a library. So I'm there and I have my book and I'm like crying because I'm so emotional and overwhelmed with being there and having this book. Then I'm like, someone popped their head in. Someone popped their head. I couldn't see them really. I just knew it was a masculine man, but I couldn't really tell. I just knew it was someone. They popped their head. So I told the past life regressionist, someone's popping their head in. She's like, interesting. She said, ask them if they have any advice for you. And so I asked him, and he said he's not getting involved in this. And he laughed and left the room. I was like, oh, okay. Didn't think more of it. I thought it was odd, but I didn't know what to expect. So, I covered my name badge. So, then I was just getting pulled to go back. So I looked up some YouTube self-hypnosis to go back to the Akashic records. And I did that. So I kept going back. And it felt like, yes, I was there, but it kind of felt like maybe I wasn't. Again, this was all new to me, so I didn't know what to believe and what not to believe, but it felt real. But in my head, I'm like, this can't possibly be real. So I would go back, I would just ask questions, and every time I went back, I met the same person. and he would come to this golden room I was in, and we would just talk. Sometimes I would open my book and go to different lives, and sometimes, most times, I would just talk, and I would just sit in counsel with this being. So I asked him what his name was, and he said the Keeper. So I'm like, okay. One of the times, I think maybe it was my fourth time going there, as I was leaving, because I was, again, listening to the YouTube video, and there's a part when I think it's only like an hour and a half, and the guy says, you know, you're leaving, and they kind of count you out of it, but they give you like 10 minutes to like wrap up things. And so I was at that part in the recording, and as I was like walking away, the Keeper, he said my soul's name. And before, I had been trying to find my soul's name, and no one would tell me. So he said my soul's name. And so I stopped, and I turned around. I said, is that my name? And he said, yes. And I said, thank you. And he said, don't come back here. There's nothing for you here. And I said, will I get in trouble if I come back? And he said, no, but there's nothing for you here. Like, you need to stay on earth. And I said, I laughed, and I said, no, I'm coming back. And I did. I came back willy-nilly. I like wanted to know what time was. I wanted to learn manifestation. During this time, I was absolutely going insane, because I was taking concepts that he was telling me and trying to apply them here on earth, and they did not. So that actually is why I sought out someone to help me. And that was another catalyst, because I was kind of, my mind was, I felt like Rain Man, or the beautiful mind person. I was bringing stuff here, and I was just writing and scribbling and drawing things. But anyway, so then fast forward maybe 4 months of this, probably longer, maybe 5-6 months of this. So I'm good and crazy now. Like, I'm like learning all these, yeah. So about 6 months, 4 to 6 months into this, I told everybody about it, and you know, I was laughing and giggling, and again thinking some of it's right, but I don't know if I'm just going crazy. And so I was just kind of, you know, happy to be there, but not really sure if it was a there I was going to. So fast forward, I decided, okay, I need to figure things out, because now my mind is like a hot mess. And so I said, well, for shits and giggles, let me Google the Keeper to see if anyone has heard of this guy, if his name comes up. And I was thinking in my head, maybe I'll find something on an obscure website or a message board where they're talking about the Keeper. So I Googled him. I just put in the Keeper, Akashic Records. Lo and behold, this man has a whole Wikipedia page. All this information about the Keeper. That breath that was exactly what I did. Because even though I knew he was real, I wasn't sure if he was a real being. So that right there, I was floored. I was calling people saying, this is actually a real person. And I remember my mom saying, well, yeah, you've been telling me about him for months. Like, you didn't believe him, I believed you. And I'm saying, well, I believed it, but I didn't really believe it. Like, how was this even possible? And that's when I was like, okay, hold on. I've been laughing in this entity's face. I've been playing with this entity. I've been not a jerk, but just kind of strong-willed with this entity. He's like telling me things, and I'm like demanding stuff of him. And I was thinking, like, if this is I'm a lucid dreamer, so I can control my dreams. I was kind of like, well, if this is a dream and I can control it, I'm just gonna I would just go to the Akashic Records and be like, show me how time works. And he even told me, I don't think you can handle it. And I'm like, no, I can. Just show me how time works. One time he told me my brain, I was going crazy because my brain couldn't handle what he was teaching me. And I had actually told him one time, I think that you should teach me more.